WBCP 1580. Kind of floating around here. You know, we got a new pilot. UPTV, Channel 6. Uverse. 99. I wore my Cubs shirt today.
In honor of?
First sweep of the season.
Oh, I thought you were going to say in honor of Don Zimmer.
Well, in honor of Don Zimmer, too. I mean, it's... When you lose a baseball icon, do you know that Don Zimmer, now he passed away Wednesday, age of 83?
I think, yeah.
66 years of his 83 years were spent in the world of baseball.
There's not many of those managers or what I'm saying, old baseball guys left.
But imagine, not even baseball. Imagine you get to spend your life
66 years right here in this room.
doing what you love, giving it to the people out there. We come in here and find you at the age of 83.
It'll never happen.
He'd be dead long before that.
Yeah.
Now they kill him.
I'm retiring in about 2 years.
Oh, really? So you'd retire at 48? Earliest retiree in the history of...
Hey, I gotta get paid.
Well, when you're rocking the Allen Iverson studs in your ear like that, you've been getting paid.
I wish.
You got the Folex on. Yeah, turn it under. But like Mike said, first of all, the Cubs did sweep the Mets.
The who?
They're in the Major League Baseball system.
Play somebody.
System. Yeah, so's the Winter League out there.
Oh, here we go
Tell
now.
them to play somebody.
Right, right.
No, I don't want to play the Cardinals because they're losing too much right now.
Oh yeah, they've been.
Yeah. Try to kick me while I'm down, will you?
Well, yeah, we can, because you're still in what place?
Last.
Thank you.
Hey, but that means we only got one place to go. Up. There you go. Hey, this is our 106th year of rebuilding.
What?
Yes, sir. hey, but yesterday in the draft, they got a player.
Got a catcher from Indiana.
He's a stud.
And watch, he'll
screw him up.
He'll fizzle out in Chicago. He'll go to the Mets. The Yankees. Make $150 million.
And probably spend 29 years in the minors.
No, just one.
Just one.
We pull him up too soon. Think about the number of Rookie of the Year players that the Cubs have had.
Have they? Had any? Seriously? Other than Ernie Banks? I don't even know if he was Rookie of the Year.
I don't think so.
Are you guys just going to spend the rest of the show correcting me for my erroneous statements?
Come on, man.
I didn't know they had any.
You the Cub fan.
Yeah, you got the shirt on and everything.
Yeah.
Tell us something.
I tried.
But you know what, Sarge? I mean, he does have a point in that they destroy their talent or they trade them to the Cardinals in 1963-ish, I think it was.
Well, they got Lou Brock, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
I just want to jump. When you said that, I just want to just pounce on you. Like old leopard. Just get all on
Leave
you.
me alone.
But with Don Zimmer, with his passing, we got to give a moment of silence.
Got to.
I mean,
He's a-
Popeye, he took the Cubs to the divisional crown in '89. He was a manager, assistant coach with Joe Torre during the glory years of the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
Got slammed to the ground by Pedro.
Pedro, right. And I think everybody remembers the press conference afterwards. All right.
Wasn't none.
I embarrassed my family, my team. And he had the perfect nickname, Popeye.
Yes, sir.
Looked exactly like, some guys get a nickname and you have to ask, hey, where did it come from? You look at Don Zimmer, you hear word Popeye. Nailed it. But once again, man.
Hopefully his wife didn't look like olive oil.
Oh, Popeye.
Get the animals away from
But no, am I the only one that think olive oil was sexy?
Yes.
Am I?
Yeah.
Brutus thought she was sexy too.
Brutus just didn't like Popeye. So he just a hater. Brutus was like the original hater.
He was a hater.
Right, that's all it was. Yeah, you see olive oil. I'm holler at her, man.
Yeah,
this Popeye woman.
You got Popeye and Brutus fighting over olive oil.
If you think about cartoon women. I mean, you had Betty and Wilma, and you hollering at Oliver.
Well, at least he's consistent with make-believe women.
That's true. Man-tie.
If you're gonna go after anybody, go after that gal on who killed Roger Rabbit or whatever his name was.
Jessica Rabbit?
Yeah.
Roger Rabbit's wife.
Ooh, we
Hey, it must have been about the money.
had to be. Had to be.
I think Roger Rabbit was the original Donald Sterling.
Had to be. You hear about that chick that came out, another woman that came out against Donald
Third one?
Sterling?
Wait a minute.
No.
How do we just get all the way over here to Donald Sterling? We were going to do a moment of silence on
Oh, okay.
Don
Let's do that
Zimmer.
real quick.
You know, I mean, the show already, the wheels have come off.
When you walked in wearing that Cub shirt.
You know how we roll.
Right, with no wheels.
That's right.
So, you know, let's do our WBCP moment of silence for Don Zimmer. You know, you go ahead and do the quick eulogy and we'll bow our heads.
He was a manager of a Cub. Enough said. Hey!
Man.
All right.
Don Zimmer, God
Yeah,
bless him.
God bless him.
83 years young,
He going to that great big old ballpark up in the sky.
Iowa.
Hopefully his team is better up there than it was down here.
I got the reference. Man.
Nah,
I got the reference.
See, Mike knows. You know, when I say stuff like that, you know, I get the Monday look.
What?
At least you're not getting the duck look.
Let me just tell you guys before we move forward, the duck story has gone viral.
Has it?
I was at the ballpark the other day, and somebody just walked up to me and said, "Hey, I heard you had a problem with a duck," and walked away.
You haven't even begun to hear it.
Man.
At that point, I wanted to put sunglasses on and a trench coat.
Did you tell the guy? Did you go? You quack me up?
No, I didn't. That,
I would have left the country myself.
let's see, that shows how insecure and unstable a man you are.
I know Obama would have had to trade at least 6 Talibans for me.
Well,
My
Obama,
question-
No,
you know what? The Taliban would be like, "No, you just take
keep
him.
him.
Keep him. You don't need to give us any fighters back."
My question, Joe, is: have you told the kids or shown them? I guess is a better way of putting it.
Man, NBA
Go ahead.
Finals was really hot last night, huh?
Good game.
Woo!
You know they're friends at.
Jimmy John's freaky fast delivery.
Spurs take game 1 of the NBA Finals.
Did they take game one,
Oh, well, yeah, they took
or did
it.
the AT&T Arena?
No, they took game 1.
They took game
They
one.
took game
I-
1.
I will
It was
put-
a sloppy, Spurs had, 23, 24 turnovers, something like
Yeah,
that.
something like that. And still beat them by 15.
Well, then see, once again, here we go with it, and we still beat them. No, the Spurs saw LeBron James cramp up at the 7:31 mark,
Here you go.
and from that point on,
Here you go.
let's remove. Wait a minute.
Here you go.
Let's flip it. If Tim Duncan is removed from that game at the 7:31 mark, how bad do the Spurs get beat? The same way.
It's a moot point because at the end of when the clock said 0,
We hit
0,
it.
0,
That's
it
right,
said
game over.
Spurs 115.
Here we go. Here we
Heat
go.
95.
So are you saying that the Spurs won because LeBron sat down most of the fourth quarter? Is that what you said?
Let me see. The answer would be yes.
Here, let me add to your conspiracy theory and
Come
point
on.
out that the electric company in San Antonio is owned by the city of San Antonio.
Let me just say this first of all.
And let's say this too. Spurs had to play with no air conditioning too.
You know what? I've been hearing this mess for the past 12, 16 hours.
Yeah, you gonna hear it.
Let's talk
You gonna hear it
facts.
for the rest of this.
Let's talk
this
facts.
show if you keep on bringing that stuff
No,
up.
But no,
40 minutes.
I'm going to continue to bring it up because let's talk facts. First of all,
The Heat lost.
because of conditions, you cannot say, well, you know, everybody's playing in the same conditions, so you know. No. The fact remains, you've watched enough sports in your life. Athletes respond to physical conditions differently. Each one is unique in their own makeup.
Okay.
Correct?
Okay.
So, to say the statement, the Spurs played in the same conditions too, if they had a history of cramping in those conditions,
Cramping or choking?
cramping, don't even make it about.
They were physically better.
Oh,
Than
no.
the Heat.
No.
Uh-oh.
Phone lines 3599227.
WBCP.
Hey, how's it going? This is Will Kyles. How are you?
All right, Will, how are you?
Hey, I'm pumped. Ready to go.
Okay.
I got a call from JW.
Oh, man, I thought you called Talk Sports.
No, not Councilman Kyles.
Councilman Cal's on the phone, but he don't want to talk to
He's
him.
not here to talk sports. He's here to talk business.
Well, you know.
Hold on one second. I get caught up and caught up. Wait 1 second. 1 second. Let me take you off of speakerphone. Mr. Person. Hey, what's going on, sir?
Nothing. We talking.
How's everything with you?
Everything just falling apart
I ain't
today.
talked to you in a minute. So.
Hold on. This is not JW. Hey, I'll get you JW. Can you hold, please?
Yes, sir.
That was a little inadvertent.
We're on live TV. Everything just falling apart.
Right.
Jazz is not here, and I got to pull double duty. And
Microphone falls on the
I
side.
know it.
We got a new camera operator,
That's a Joseph over there.
Joseph.
Joseph Williams.
Joseph Williams doing a fantastic job. First time on the air. You know, you say he popped up?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, whack-a-mole. He just,
He wish he could get some FaceTime too. Though.
yeah, but the camera's pointed the wrong way.
I know.
He tried to get a selfie. You see how he did it? He came up, he's like, you said my name? Oh, wrong
You
side.
talking about me?
Right.
Yeah.
But back to the debate we were having. Yeah, oh yeah, go do your job. Come on up here, Mike. Look,
All right.
Now we can have an intelligent conversation. Now that Sam's been removed. What I was saying about physical condition, and Sam made the statement before we had to run off and go answer the phone, is that the Spurs were in better physical condition than the Heat. I have to totally disagree with that because up until the point where LeBron cramped up, the turnover issue you brought up, 23.
Right.
The fact that the Heat were in the lead, and at that point, Danny Green, and this is the reason why I bring this LeBron thing up, because you say in the end, but up until that point, Danny Green hadn't done a thing because LeBron was guarding.
Right.
You remove LeBron, three things happened last night. Number one, the attack volume of the defense went way down.
Correct.
Number two, what occurs is now a guy like Danny Green, who doesn't have a second team All NBA defensive player guarding him, his confidence level goes up. And the third thing, psychologically, you think about the Heat. You go into battle with your leader in front of you, not behind you. And when they looked out there on the floor, when it's LeBron time or winning time, he's not out there. Those three factors alone swayed the outcome of that game. Now, will I give the Spurs credit? Of course. They shot 14 for 16 in the fourth quarter, only missed 2 shots, 6 for 6 from the three-point line. They played outstanding basketball. The point I'm making is that we don't know how that game would have ended without all the bullets in the Heat's gun that was not on the floor at the end of that game. That's the point.
Okay.
That's all.
You done?
Hey, you're back. I didn't notice you sitting there.
You done?
He's in the captain's chair.
Right. I
You done?
Kirk.
Are you done?
No, I'm not done.
No, well-
I'm just gonna allow you to respond. If you got anything to say, intelligently,
Listen, Jim.
I'm listening.
And I'm sure Mike will agree with me on this. You kick them when they down. I don't
agree.
care if LeBron's the best player on the doggone floor. When he gone, he gone.
I agree.
We gotta go out here and take care of
And
him.
they did, and that.
So you cannot sit here and say that, oh well, LeBron had been in there, that Miami would have put up a little better game. They would have. No.
Yes, I can say that.
Spurs kicked their butt.
Spurs did exactly
Game
what
one.
Spurs did exactly what you said. They seized the moment.
Why are you sitting here trying to make a point that LeBron was in there?
Because up until that point, they were winning, Sam. That's the point. If the Spurs were winning the game at the time LeBron went out the game, my point is moot. The point is the Spurs were losing the game. They had 23 turnovers at that point before LeBron went out of the game. That's the point. So don't try to flip it and make it seem like the Spurs had a 20-point lead from wire to wire. The Spurs started the game off in the lead first quarter. They lost the second and third quarter and was losing the fourth until he went out the game. That's the point. So come Sunday, he plays all 4 quarters and the Spurs win. A man with common sense like you would concede that the Spurs won the game. But until they play all 4 quarters even up, you cannot make the statement the way you made it. That's a front runner. And that's what you're being now, is a true front runner.
And the air conditioning's fixed.
So they claim. if you're running the Spurs organization, where is the thermostat going to be on Sunday? Now seeing the result of what happens to LeBron James in those conditions.
In the AT&T Center, probably about 78, 80.
There you go.
I wouldn't even turn it on.
Well, there's that too.
Well,
No, I'm just playing.
But you would. I'm with Mike.
seriously.
I'm with Mike. Going to your point, and this is where I agree with you. You have to take any advantage that you can get at this level. You take it. When LeBron went out, yeah, you put your foot on their throat. If you can keep the temperature high so that he cramps up again, do it again. What did Red Auerbach used to do back in the day with the Celtics?
Turn it off.
Turn right. 120 degrees one time against the Lakers.
Well, Magic said that they won in what, 4 games in Madison Square Garden, somewhere out there. Yeah, no air conditioning.
Probably Boston.
Yeah, no air conditioning. Played in several arenas and won championships with no air conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
So why should this be a big deal, Joe? That's what I'm trying to say. Why is this a big deal?
It's a big deal, Sam, when the best player in the league has a history of cramping. This is not this is the reason why I'm not a Heat fan, never been.
Me neither.
I'm not a LeBron fan,
Me neither.
but I will be objective in pointing out that he is the best player in the NBA. He has a history of cramping going all the way back to the Eastern Conference Finals against the Detroit Pistons in 2007. So that's why it's a factor.
This is 2014.
Right, and he cramped in 2012 against Oklahoma City, Sam. He has a history of cramping. So the point is, going to your point about what Magic went through, if Magic was a cramper, guess what? Red Auerbach turns the heat up in Boston. If Larry Bird's a cramper, they cut the heat off and cut the heat on in the Forum. The point I'm agreeing with you, if you would pay attention, is that you take advantage of these situations once you know this is what this guy cannot do. He cannot perform in these conditions. He's got a history of it.
Well, and going back to Sam's earlier point,
He don't even know which one you're talking about.
well, he might hear in a minute.
Right.
The Spurs live in San Antonio.
Right.
And having been there recently, living for a while, it gets flipping hot down there.
Right.
It gets warm in Miami too. Well, maybe a little bit more humid.
It's a different kind of warm.
Yeah.
But and the thing is, most of the Spurs don't go anywhere when the season's over. They stay in San Antonio.
Right.
So their body is acclimated a bit more to the scorching hot temperatures. And the AT&T Center, even with the air conditioner on, gets
Pretty hot.
hot. It gets hot.
And to go to the point about, like you said, Magic said that back in the day when they beat Boston.
They didn't have air conditioning back then.
Right. You have to think about today's athlete compared to the athletes of yesteryear. When they asked Dwayne Wade last night at the press conference, you ever played in conditions like this? Guess what he said?
Nope.
Tim Duncan, though. He's from the Virgin Islands.
Yeah.
Tony Parker said in Europe, they have no air conditioning.
Right.
So he's accustomed to that. LeBron James is a 6'8", 260-pound, heavily muscled athlete. And people, I saw some comments on social networking and et cetera, where people were saying, Michael Jordan played with the flu and, Kobe had it.
Right.
I think all of us can attest. When you catch a cramp, most painful thing to happen to your body. Because what is it? It's involuntary.
Right.
Once you start cramping, you can't stop it.
No.
And you imagine somebody who's 260 pounds cramping the way he cramped last night, to the point where they had to pick him up and carry him to the bench. If you know that, going into Sunday, I'm with Mike. 78, 80 degrees. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
And I just wonder how Gatorade's feeling right about now.
Oh, they're loving it in the fact that he's a Powerade spokesperson.
Right.
When he came in the league in 2003, he couldn't negotiate a deal with Gatorade. Everybody who's got a sports drink that LeBron is not endorsing is making money right now.
Oh, yeah, they are.
They're making money right
So
now.
what, Powerade didn't do his job?
Apparently, apparently not.
Here it is in the biggest stage of his career, going for the three-peat. He cramps. But the thing, if you want to talk about it,
Well, I don't think that would have been due to not drinking Powerade and or drinking Powerade.
You cramp because you're not hydrated.
Exactly.
right? And
Man.
And what's the best thing for hydration?
water.
Thank you.
But guess when you got to do it? The day before. Because once you start sweating, you can't replenish your body
Quick enough.
with the stuff that's coming out. The other thing that I'm amazed at is the old time home remedy that I still don't see people using is pickle juice. Pickle juice can stop and alleviate cramping faster. And here's why. This is the medical reason.
Okay.
Salty.
What happens is it tricks your brain. Your brain thinks you're replenishing the electrolytes faster, and it actually sends a signal to stop the body from spasm.
Now, I haven't played athletically in about 2 years. Do they still issue salt tablets?
They do.
Wait a minute. I gotta shake your hand on that one. That was 2 years.
2 years.
Now, wait a minute. Do you consider walking an athletic event?
His brain's been cramping for a long time.
Right, and he's been drinking pickles. He's in a pickle. You know what? And here's the irony of that saying.
What?
Back in our day, that was the thing.
Salt tablets.
Salt tablets,
Yeah.
so you wouldn't cramp. And all the newfound medical folks came along and said, that's ridiculous. You give somebody salt, it actually pulls
Right.
fluids out of your body and dehydrates you faster, blah, blah, blah. And so they stopped doing that. But do you ever remember of anybody cramping back in the day using the salt tablets?
Not that I can.
I don't either. I see more athletes today cramp in activity. And now, after a game, everybody's, Charlie horse in the calf,
Right.
catch one in the thigh like LeBron had last night. But in game, I've never seen more athletes get in-game cramping than you see today. And today, you've got all the different sports drinks and all the modern technology, and everybody knows what to do. And they even said that that they analyze the sweat of the players before, during, and after the games. That's how technologically advanced this has gotten.
I need that job.
So that maybe,
Right.
and because what I was saying earlier, us three go out and we're involved in physical activity. Our bodies, obviously, 3 different makeups. It's going to affect us differently in terms of what we see on the court. I don't know if you heard LeBron in the third quarter. He said, they're trying to smoke us out of here.
Yep.
That's what he said in the third quarter. He said, I need cold water. You didn't hear anybody else on either side.
Did he get some?
Yeah, but as we just said, once your body starts to go, the only thing that can, you first you got to stop. You can't drink water and think you're going to get back out there and go at 100% like he was going. Remember when he came out the game, he went back in, first time he touched the ball, what did he do? Went to the hoop, made a layup. As soon as he landed, he was frozen. He couldn't even run back down court. He'd had to foul just to stop the play to get him off the court. So there's no way of replenishing. And I think going back to the series itself, let's talk objectively. Here's where I give credit. 9 out of 10, Tim Duncan. Now, to your point, it don't matter if LeBron on the floor or not. When a guy's shooting 9 out of 10, he got, 21 and 10 last night? And he's, 49 years? He's older than you.
And getting to the hoop a lot last night.
He is, to me, probably the most unappreciated superstar
absolutely.
in the history of the game.
But the really neat part about that is he doesn't care.
Right.
He doesn't care.
What I like about Tim Duncan is after the game, press conference, he looks like he's going first day of school. Heavily material plaid shirt from JCPenney's. Backpack. You don't see any exorbitant jewelry like what you wear. He, as Mike said, you don't hear him complain. You've never heard Tim Duncan want more of this. Or he's a true, consummate professional. And I don't think he'll be appreciated even when he's gone. I still don't think...
Even after he's in the Hall of Fame.
Right. I still don't think people will talk about Tim Duncan the way he should be referred to, which is the greatest power forward to ever play the game. Sam, I could sit here on camera and radio and not even flinch. I may be rooting for the Heat, but that man is the great. Have you ever seen somebody that consistent at one position?
And so effortless.
Right. If he gets the ball within the paint area, you might as well just put 2 points in the book. You know, like in golf when they say,
He don't do a lot of shaking and baking when he get the ball either.
He doesn't have to.
He knows exactly what he's going to do. And you know exactly what he's going to do. You can't stop it.
Like Jordan would tell you, I'm going to do this, then that, and I'm going to go over you. Duncan doesn't. The only difference between, well, I shouldn't say the only difference, but in terms of this, Duncan doesn't tell you. He just does it and just looks at you and dares you to try to stop him.
Right.
I have seen Tim Duncan get more excited at the drag strip racing his car than I've ever seen him get on a basketball.
Yeah, he is. I'm telling you, just as a basketball fan, I appreciate it. Tony Parker. Tony Parker is another guy I don't think is appreciated enough as a point guard because he will get you what you need when you need it. If it's a bucket, he's gonna get it. If it's an assist,
well, let's look at the Spurs overall as a team.
Right.
Well,
It's unappreciated. How long? They didn't been to the finals here. In the past 10 years, maybe 5 times?
something like that.
Oh, you can go back even further. Go back to 99.
Okay.
It's been 15 years. These guys, the big three we're talking about, Duncan, Ginobili, and Parker. That core unit. And just like the New England Patriots do in football, who is Bellinelli? Who's Kawhi Leonard?
The dude with the really huge hands.
Right. Who is Splitter? But going to your point, they play when they come in if they were playing for somebody else, non-factors. Mm-hmm. But when they play for the Spurs, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago when they were playing OKC.
The Spurs way?
It's the Spurs way. And that's why I go to my original point about that's why LeBron's got to be on the floor. Because if he's not on the floor, I mean, it's a moot point. Spurs win the game by double digits every time.
Mm-hmm. Well, and just talking about the Spurs way and going back to 1999 when it was the big two, David Robinson and Duncan, they still had their key players. Rodman was there for a period of time and whatnot. But the point being, because of the Spurs way, David Robinson still lives in San Antonio. Mm-hmm. And John Barry still lives in San Antonio. And, a bunch of the other role players, if you will, still stay in town and all that good stuff. But Popovich is so good at plugging people in, a lot like Phil Jackson in the 90s with the Bulls.
Right.
Well, I'm glad you brought it. If you looked at Popovich last night during the game, he rotated with the Heat being on, the air conditioner. He rotated his players regularly during that ball game.
Mm-hmm. Well, he does that a lot anyway.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And he's been doing it all year. Part of that is because Duncan and Parker and Ginobili are old. Mm-hmm. I mean, I saw something, I can't remember where it was, on Facebook or something, but on one of the, for lack of a better word, the lineup cards for a particular game, he's got Duncan down as DND or DNP, did not play, and instead of an injury or something, he just put old.
Yeah.
And I mean, Pops, he's a smart man.
You think about what Mike just said in terms of how this develops those other guys you mentioned. By not playing the big three during the regular season as much as other teams may play their stars, those young guys develop fast because he doesn't concede game. I think that's where the misnomer is.
Right.
A lot of teams will not play their stars and concede a victory to the other team. No. He still has the expectations you will play.
And we're going to win.
And we're going to win regardless if these three play or not. But what that does is instill a level of confidence in these guys that coach believes in me. So when it now, Danny Green had a poor game all the way up until the fourth quarter, then he goes nuts. Because they're like, keep shooting. Other teams might be like, Mike, take a seat. You haven't hit all game. Take a seat. And then we don't know if Mike would have scored in the fourth quarter because coach already has pulled him out.
Well, and Popovich is constantly screaming at Danny Green. But when he gets that hey, play defense or whatever, he's also going, as you said, keep shooting.
Right.
And the other thing that it instills in the younger guys is none of them want to disappoint Duncan.
Right.
So even Parker and Ginobili are that way to a degree too. Not as much anymore, but you got young guys, and as you said earlier, Joe, the greatest power forward ever.
Right.
You just got to appreciate that greatness.
When you look at series of the past, we wax poetically about 70s and 80s, certain Lakers, Celtics, 76ers, and so on. And one thing that you will notice, and this goes to this point about LeBron cramping, when the biggest player or the best player has some type of flaw. I go back to Magic Johnson when they lost to Detroit. His hamstring injury. Once a team smells blood in the water, at that level, they coming for you. Sunday's game, I know a lot of people say, oh, it's just game 2. I think Sunday's game is important. Is the pivotal game in the series because for 11 straight series, Miami has won game 2. They'll lose game 1. They do that whether it's Indiana or whoever.
Right.
But their goal is, okay, we're going to steal one of these games.
Split away.
And then when we go back home, we win 2. Now it's 3-1. All the pressure's on you. Just like with Indiana. Oh, you win game 5. And Indiana barely won game 5, but what happened when game 6?
You got blasted.
That's why Sunday is pivotal, because if the Spurs' confidence level, I don't think it can get any higher. But if they know, man, all he has to do is cramp. If he just starts cramping, this is what's going to happen. 78.
Mr. Holt, can you turn it up to about 85?
Well, we don't want this to be the Heat lost the championship because LeBron was getting cramps.
But you'll have it anyway.
Right. Just like I said, when Detroit won their first title against the Lakers, Magic, hamstring injury. When the Bulls won their first title against the Lakers, Worthy went down, Magic, they had about but over time that fades away, and the credit will go to the champ the way it should go to.
Well, and the other thing is if looking ahead, we'll say San Antonio wins it. Nobody on the Spurs team cares what you or I or Joe or anybody else think. Okay,
Right.
blame it. Say we weren't because of LeBron. We don't care. We got the trophy, folks.
Right. Think about what the Spurs are thinking now. Nobody cared last year when Tim Duncan missed the layup.
Right.
And Ray Allen hit the 3.
Yeah, right.
Nobody cared then. Even though the Spurs should have won.
Should have won.
We've seen that shoulda, woulda, coulda for many a generation.
In many different sports.
Right. But right now, I want him to play because Spurs win the title. Going to your point, then there definitely is no question. Tim Duncan's legacy should not be tainted. his legacy should be as high and as exalted as anybody else's.
Everybody's gonna be talking just like you was talking at the top of the show. If LeBron's had did this, or LeBron would have had done that.
But that's right. But that's just the natural emotion that sports fans do. But I'm talking about one game. If LeBron can't come out in game 2 and he can't come out in game 3 and can't come out in game 4, guess what? The Spurs.
Party on the Riverwalk.
Right. The Spurs and all the fat chicks down in San Antonio.
Hey.
LeBron is going to be
Charles
out there
Barkley.
game 2. He's going to be out there game 2.
Right. So that's
He's
my
a game.
point.
He's going to be out there game 2.
Oh,
Well, yeah, he's going to be out there, but the question is, he's going to be out there in the fourth quarter if it's 101 degrees in the AT&T Center.
Well, I'm pretty sure the medical staff is going to make sure that he is well hydrated and ready to go for game 2.
I will say that I agree that he would be well hydrated, but I think to Mike's point, if he physically is just his makeup is that once he plays at that high level, he starts to cramp. Ain't nothing you can do about it.
And the other thing is too, from a psychological standpoint, it's in his head.
Right. Because now does he come out slow?
It was even in his head last night in the third quarter. It's like they're trying to smoke us out of here.
Right. I mean,
he knew, he could feel it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you saw him that one time where he was walking to the bench. He had that little stiff leg move to the bench, and at that point I'm thinking, is it his back or? And then when he sat down, I was like, oh, here we go. And they got the ice bags out and they started. And when they finally put him back in, he cramps up after the layup. And Spoelstra, I have to give him credit. LeBron, as the champion that he is, wanted to go back in.
And Spoelstra told him no.
He said, you're done.
Done, yep.
And that tells you right there, let's go back to years gone by.
We need you later on.
Exactly.
Right. He's thinking of the entire series, but other coaches might have thrown him out there and watch him blow in the tire, And, then press would have been asking, well, why did you put him back in? I'm the coach.
Oh, why come you didn't let him go back in?
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing is, too, it's not that far of a trip from a cramp in the calf or whatever to a torn Achilles.
Right.
Or a torn thigh muscle or whatever it may be. So, yeah. I mean, Spoelstra doesn't get enough credit for being a good coach.
Right.
All right, we got to go to break here. Yes.
Okay.
Like I said, Jazz in here. I got to go.
All right, you go over there and
I'll
start
be
the
back.
break.
We go to break. We got Belmont coming up tomorrow. California Rims. He's going for the Triple Crown, first since
1977, Affirm or Aladar, one of the two.
Affirm. Aladar was always chasing.
One of the A's. That's all I remember. That was 77, dude.
Yep. So we'll go to this break, come back right after this. Welcome back. Talking Sports, WBCP 1580.
Like a good neighbor.
State Farm is there.
They weren't your business.
Hey, I've done a lot more than.
That is true. That's very true.
There's a duck in my.
Let's go on fire.
Joseph Williams is on the cameras. He on the ones and twos. Doing a fantastic job, just standing there with the headphones on and
Playing whack-a-mole every
right,
once in a while.
looking professional.
Is that what it is?
Right, you know what he's supposed to do though, like in the big TV show. In point, right? But he didn't. He just watch him go back down. And he gonna get back on his phone.
He's learning.
He getting ready to tweet his girl. Hey, just over there with these old dudes. You know what I'm saying? Chilling.
You gotta hear these guys.
Right. They don't know what they're talking about. But we appreciate Joseph Williams. UPTV Channel 6, U-Versus.
99.
There you go. What is U-Verse? We've been talking about that for months now, and I don't know what U-Verse is. Is it AT&T?
Yeah.
Is it?
My mom has it.
Does she? I've never seen anything bad about your mom, especially when she made, what she made? Everything.
Everything.
Right. You know what I like about how your mama cook?
How's that?
Is whatever she prepares, she puts it on the same plate with the same cellophane wrapping. Whether it's bacon and eggs or cake.
How does Joe know this? That's what I want to know.
That's what I want to know too. My mama been cooking for you, Joe?
We got to talk about that off the air, bro. Got some things, man, you got to sit down and talk about, Sam.
Joseph, cut the camera off. You get ready to be one up in
Ain't
here.
gonna be no banging. on UPTV Channel 6.
My mama cooking for Joe. Then come on, man.
Your mama's cook for everybody.
Somebody's cooking for Joe.
I almost made that statement. Man, your mama done cook for everybody.
Yeah, that's true too.
No, but we do appreciate her.
Sure do.
Birthdays, bar mitzvahs, whatever. She'll whip something up.
And bring it on down here.
Did you ever cut her grass?
Yes, I did. Matter of fact, when I get off work this afternoon,
You gonna cut your mama's
I gotta
grass?
go cut my mama grass.
After you get through at your mama's house, can you come over to mine?
No, I don't think so.
I'll bake you a cake.
I don't think so.
Come on, man.
I
Help a
don't
brother out.
There are so many duck jokes there.
He's not gonna let that duck go. Is he?
No, he's duck goose right now.
Yeah, we got to get him something else to talk about.
Right. You got to do something.
No, never.
Well, you will. You just won't know.
I ain't telling nobody.
Back to sports.
Oklahoma City's Kevin Durant was MVP season. He was the unanimous choice for All NBA First Team.
He's the only one.
Only one.
The only one.
He was the first teamer on all 125 ballots, and he made the top squad for the 5th time. LeBron James got 124 first-team votes.
Wait a minute. So there was
Who didn't vote for
right
LeBron?
there. You go. That's the point right there. Be objective. How do you not put LeBron James in the top 5? Who's the one guy that tried to be, Mr. Smart Aleck? Your name here.
Maybe he's a LeBron hater.
Apparently.
Chris Paul, he earned his 4th first-team selection. Also, James Harden.
The beard.
Yep. And Joakim Noah. Now, Joakim Noah, he was the defensive player of the year?
I ain't got a problem with Joe Kim because he was the glue for the Bulls. And he plays with a passion that a lot of guys don't play with.
Well, and they slotted him as the center on an
Right.
All-NBA team, too.
Mhm.
So,
But James Harden, I know he can fill it up at times.
I think James Harden's the reason Houston was in the playoffs.
But look who's on the second team. Tony Parker, Stephen Curry, Blake Griffin, Dwight Howard, and Kevin Love.
You know what's the sad part about it?
What's that?
We talked during a previous segment about the greatest power forward of all time. He didn't even make the 3rd team. Tim Duncan is not on any of those teams.
Mm-mm.
I don't care how old he is. Some guys should just get the vote for past performance.
Well,
Like the Major League All-Star game,
Right.
Guy been in the All-Star game 14 years in a row and he batting 175.
That's because fans be voting. Now writers vote for these, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
For-
I heard that part of that was because Duncan insists on being called a power forward and not a center, even though that's the role he's
Okay.
likely to play.
So let's look at the power forward for the first team would be considered LeBron.
Right.
The power forward for the second team would be Blake Griffin. And the third team would be Goran Dragic. Or no, LaMarcus Aldridge.
Right.
Yeah, because Al Jefferson is the center and Paul George would be the small forward.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing that does show you how much talent is in the league, but still, Tim Duncan, has to be, it goes to my point about being objective. You can root. Mike's rooting for the Spurs, I root for the Heat. But when it comes time to acknowledge talent, I think that's where sports is really kind of falling off. You said, well, the fans vote in baseball. Yeah, but do you think the fans are would be as far off as the writers and saying that LeBron James is not a unanimous selection for NBA first team?
Or that Duncan doesn't make a team?
Right.
I don't think a lot of people would have voted unanimously for LeBron James. They might have voted for him, but unanimously no.
And my question is why?
I mean, greatness is greatness. It
Right.
doesn't matter what the jersey is.
You flip a coin between him and Kevin Durant.
Come on, let's be honest, man.
Let's be honest.
LeBron, he's a great ball player.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't like him.
And I don't care. That's the
got nothing to
point.
do
You know,
with
so therefore he don't get the votes. If the fans were voting for him, is that's the point I'm
Apparently,
making.
even if the writers are voting for him, he doesn't.
And that's the point I'm making about how sports is. I'm glad the games are played on the court and on the field, as opposed to based on opinion. Because if people, because I don't like you, why?
Because you beat my team every time we play.
Right, you're great. I don't like you, so I'm not. I hated Michael Jordan. Hated him. Why? I'm a Knicks fan. Grew up as a Knicks fan.
I was never a fan. So.
But would I then say Michael Jordan is not, at that time period, was he not the best player in the NBA at that time?
That was then. This is now.
I'm just saying
But
my
the
hatred
person is the same.
Right, my hatred for Michael had nothing to do with Michael's talent. It was what Mike said. You may not like a guy because he beats your team, but when it comes to being objective about his talent, you're gonna say that, he's not unanimous. I'll take whoever. Give me LeBron. You can keep hating. Give me LeBron. Just like people like Kobe. If it's based on the all hatred team, give me Kobe, Mike, and LeBron. You take anybody else you want. Right. I'll put Doug Christie and Mayor Christie as my fifth guy, and you take whoever else you want, and them three guys will beat your five anytime. I'm still confused and bewildered by the logic.
It's okay. But the happiest member probably of the NBA All-Star team was third string Paul George. He had a bonus in his contract. He made the All-Star team, so he gets $7 million.
For making the All-NBA?
Yeah.
Wow.
The Rose factor.
Wow. So you get $7 million, you can take Hibbert.
Yeah, I think, yep. Derrick Rose was the first player to qualify, and then Blake Griffin also qualifies.
Wow.
I'm confused by one thing. Are you a fan of any winning teams?
Wow. That hurt.
Well,
I felt that like right here.
It should.
Now,
Cubs
no,
and the Knicks.
you got to remember.
The 70 Knicks, okay, I understand that.
But when you become a fan of a team, you become a fan of a team, and you stay a fan of a team.
That's
but you're
right.
a smart man, Joe.
Right. I'm a very intelligent man. So let's. If
I
you
will
want to
admit he's not a bandwagon jumper.
right.
Okay.
So let's use the history.
That's fair.
I became a Viking fan in 1970.
Oh, I forgot the Vikings. Okay, so.
Okay, the Vikings went to 4 Super Bowls in the 70s. They won the Central Division at that time. That's what it was called. Now it's the North. At least 7 times during that decade. The Purple People Eaters was if not the best, one of the best defenses next to the Steel Curtain, Doomsday, and you name it.
Fearsome force.
Fearsome Foursome. There you go. Now, baseball, I was actually a Pirate fan because Roberto Clemente, my favorite player, but I became a Cub fan over the years. Basketball, a Knick fan because of Walt Frazier, Earl of Pearl Monroe, Dean Miniger, Willis Reed, Phil Jackson, DeBuscher, Bradley.
They had a squad back in the day.
But going to your point, this is where I think debates about sports today, people become fans because of what? The color of a jersey.
Or the way the hat looks.
The way the hat looks. The fact that they play cool music at the
Right.
you know, the name of the stadium. You know, you think about how many people who, you know, like right now are Heat fans. There's I've been a Heat fan for what, since 2010?
Mm-hmm. Since LeBron went there.
Took his talents.
Right. I mean,
Because, look at it. Didn't nobody know nothing about LeBron when he was with Cleveland.
you know, well, they knew about him.
They
but
knew
it was
about it, but he was on a losing team.
team, right? But he had to do everything. They get to Miami, you get all these people. I've been a Heat fan. Back in '93 when Ronnie Cycli,
Right.
you know, when Harold Miner used to play for the Heat.
Let's go ahead and call me. You bandwagon jumpers.
And that's the reason why, like I said, when we get into this conversation about appreciating talent, that's where I think people are so fickle and so superficial about their sports teams now. Like, You guys are Cardinal fans.
Yep.
Thick and thin.
Since birth.
Right. I'm a Cub fan. We go back and forth. Cubs right now could be 1-33, which they pretty close. But
You'll still be a Cub
I'm
fan.
still a Cub. And look what I'm wearing.
Yeah.
I'm wearing my allegiance to the Cubs.
That take guts.
That's
You got a lot of gut too.
Right.
Yeah.
But it goes to the conversation about, like the Pacers. How many people have you ever known who say they were Indiana Pacers fans?
Outside of Indianapolis,
There you go.
a couple maybe.
But that's it. Bear fans. I know some guys. I know some friends of mine, Bear fans, thick and thin. No matter what's going on, the Bears could be number 31 of the 32 teams in the NFL, but they'll make you think the Bears are the Bears, they're the Dickon, the 85 Super Bowl shuffle.
The Bears.
They're fans.
Yeah, but that was in 85.
85 is yesterday to a Bear fan. And don't you forget
Especially
it.
up
I
north.
Don't you forget
I
it,
won't.
my friend.
I won't.
Get some sausages. So that's just my thing about when you ask the question about winning teams as opposed to just being a fan of your
Being a
team.
fan, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I forgot you were a Vikings fan, so that kind of takes a little bit away from what I said. Well, they had Fran Tarkenton. How
Right.
do you not like him?
And Chuck Foreman.
Yeah, Chuck Foreman.
Sammy
Alan
White.
Page.
Sammy White.
First game I ever saw, Minnesota Vikings, Super Bowl 4. Your memories etched in terms of when they lost to the Chiefs in that Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. But I became a fan of the Vikings. Maybe I'm a fan of losers. Maybe I like the underdog, so that when they do overcome, I can say I was there during a hard time.
10 years.
Yeah, that's true. It's been we might overcome. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll
Sooner or
just
later.
file for divorce.
There you go.
History could be made tomorrow. Where will you be? I know where I will be.
Sitting on the couch with a
With a-
Budweiser,
with a-
lima margarita.
California Chrome is a 3-5 early favorite to win the Belmont Stakes.
No money involved there.
Nope. California Chrome will be listed number 2 in the betting program, the same number in 1973 Quipper Crown winner Secretariat.
He got a good draw on the post.
Yeah, who won the Belmont by a record 31 lengths. He just jumped out and left everybody.
That was only because they ran out of track.
And I'm thinking California Chrome is going to do the same thing tomorrow.
You think so?
Yep.
Not by that much, but I think he'll run away from it.
How many lengths did he win by in the Preakness? It was about 4,
No, about 5 or 6.
5 or 6. Okay.
Yep. Other horses. Medal Count. He's a 20-1 favorite. Of course, at number 2, California Chrome, 3-5. Matterhorn, 30-1 favorite. Commanding Curve, who's been in the last 2 races,
Your buddy.
15-1. Ride on Curlin, he's there again. He's 12-1 favorite. Batuzak, he's a 30-1 favorite. Samrat, S-A-M-R-A-A, Samrat, he's a 21 favorite. Commissioner, 21 favorite. Wicked Strong, 6-1 favorite. General A-Rod, he's back in there. He's 21 favorite. And Tawanalis, what did I say right there? Anyway.
Tonalist.
Okay, he's 8-1 favorite. So they got 11 horses running.
We talked about it a week ago.
Yeah.
Be between 10 and 15, so it's at 11.
Race gets underway at what, about 5:20? Yeah, about 5.
ABC, I believe.
Yep.
They showed a thing on ESPN about how big the track is. Where, as you hear, going into the final turn. And they said that a lot of horses have lost the Belmont because jockeys don't gauge how long that curve is. When you're going into the final turn, they showed from the initial point to coming around the curve, there's still a half mile left from that point to the finish line.
Right.
And a lot of times jockeys will open up too early. Horse will run out of gas. And do you think California Chrome has that potential of losing the Triple Crown?
I don't think so, because he got the same jockey he had in the first 2 races on him this time also. And I think he knows how to ride that horse. So I think he'll, probably keep him in the middle of the pack. You know.
And then get him on the backstretch.
Yeah, and then get him, like you said, get him on the backstretch.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, in both races, California Chrome was walking away.
Right.
And he just hit the finish line. I mean, if it had been longer, which this is a mile and
a
3/8,
half.
something like that.
Mile and a half.
Yeah, so
No, mile 3/4. This is 3/4 because
Mile and a half.
okay, mile and a half. Wait a minute, we're double checking it.
No, you don't believe me. Wow, Joe, check it.
no, I was just reading your notes here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mile and a half.
Anyway, the point being, he was pulling away from the field as he hit the finish lines in both Kentucky Derby and the Preakness. So it should be interesting. I would like to see it. I'd like to see 2 Triple Crown winners in my lifetime.
Well, you figure you had Secretariat in 73,
Before that was what, a firm or something?
a
like
firm in 77 or 78, and then now you would have California Chrome.
In 2014.
Right.
that? It's been a while. Man.
Well, but this has also been the race where, like Big Brown and the others that have won both the Derby and the Preakness get to the Belmont, and for whatever reason, 30-1 long shot decides this is my day to actually run like I'm capable of.
They become glue.
And beats him.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting. I hope he does. I hope he does it walking away, because as we know from having been down in Kentucky for a few years,
You let somebody-
Secretary is God down there.
Yeah, but if you let one of them horses hang around, coming into that final turn, you let one of them horses hang around, you subject to get beat.
Well, yeah, you are.
Well, like you said, there's only 2 horses right on Curlin, and was it General A-Rod? They're the only 2 that raced in the other 2 races.
No,
Commanding Curve as well.
Commanding Curve, he raced another 2 too.
Okay.
And Wicked Strong and A-Rod did Wicked Strong run?
No, he didn't run the Kentucky Derby. He ran in the Preakness deal.
Now he's a 6-1.
Mm-hmm.
So next to California Chrome, Wicked Strong is the next favorite. If that makes sense.
And he was in a Derby, right? Took 4th or something like that?
Yeah, he finished 4th in the Derby. He didn't run in the Preakness.
So, what do you think about you're a betting man,
We don't condone betting.
but if we did,
You're not gonna make any money on Commanding Curve.
Mike,
I mean California Chrome. I'm sorry.
now Mike said that he likes history. Are you the type of guy do you want to see the upset, or do you want to see history made?
I want to see history made.
It actually depends on how much money I bet on who.
Yeah. Because if I bet a lot of money, and you look out there and you say, there's a guy running on the track. He's chasing the horse. He's running past the horse.
But like we said, or I said, I think, right before the Derby, horse racing needs a Triple Crown winner.
Yeah.
Just to spark some more interest in it, and to be part of DAP, that partner that the name they picked, the guys that own the horse.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, they're going to get rich, because that horse is just, and I read an interesting article, I can't remember where it was, but going back in California Chrome's bloodline, you get to like Aladar or Firm, one of the 2, and then before that you get to, I think it was Secretariat, but I'm not sure. So, the horse has got good bloodlines, but Mom and Dad were just poor working stiffs.
They're pulling plows.
It didn't cost much, that's for sure.
Anyway, the Belmont is, tickets are, they said tickets have tripled
Yeah, there's the history factor.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot of folks other than older people that were around when Secretariat won it, won the Triple Crown. So,
Yeah, I guess the bigger or broader question about horse racing is that, other than these are the races that the lay person and lay fan know about, the Derby, the Preakness, and Belmont. But horse racing in general, as you said, has it gone by the wayside like some other traditional sports in America?
Well, no, they race just about year round in some places. Yeah.
Right? No, I'm not saying that they don't.
But you don't hear about those.
And that's where I was going with it. Is that has the conversation, when I say, has it gone to the wayside? Meaning, it used to be. Let's go back to our Wide World of Sports. Or what was it? CBS. What was the same thing they had?
right.
But you saw more horse racing. You didn't just see it on the 3 major races that we're talking about now. You saw horse racing throughout the year.
Well, I think part of that is because the 4 major sports or 3 major sports, whatever it is, the season wasn't as long back then. So you had to
fillers.
You had to have fillers. And to your original question, your broader point, I think that horse racing has kind of gone the way heavyweight boxing has. You still talk about it, but you don't have that boxer, that character, that Muhammad Ali or that George Foreman or that whoever. And horse racing is kind of that way, which is why I think that a lot of horse racing folks are going to church today and tomorrow, hoping and praying that he does do the 3-peat.
Yeah. It will give it a shot of adrenaline. I'm wondering if things in this country become generational. And like baseball. I think baseball is starting to kind of wane in popularity because it's kind of a generational thing where the attention span of the current generation can't get them past 3 innings. You think about it, right?
Stretching it.
We can sit there and watch a baseball game for 9 innings. As you said, you try to get them to watch more than 3. That's stretching it. And I'm wondering if horse racing, because it's just like NASCAR and Indy racing, there's a build-up. Like if in August, there might be some conversation out there about a horse to look out for in April and May when the Derby comes around. So there's a build-up to that. Just like, NASCAR, there might be a racer who's out there on the junior circuit and look out for him in Daytona and so on and so forth. Is that where maybe this current generation doesn't grasp the sport? Because you really have to, it's not like you just go to the Derby and say, I know horse racing.
Right.
Because you only know 20 horses. Horse racing is a vast thing, as you said, it's year-round at certain tracks throughout the country, and it's an East Coast, West Coast thing. Is it just that? Is it just generational, or is it?
No, it's just that. That's just horse racing. Unless you go into the track and betting your money, you're really not too concerned about horse racing.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why when the Kentucky Derby comes around, everybody get their mint juleps and put on their big hats.
Right.
Ugly hats.
But other than that, unless you own a horse, training a horse, or being raised around horses, that's the only time the average person gets involved with horse racing.
Well, and the other thing is outside of the month of May, there's not a lot going on at Churchill Downs in Louisville. So, I mean, Sarge and I were at Fort Knox a long time ago. So, you kind of heard about the Derby in Kentucky basketball, and that was it. But going to your question, I think part of it is in fact generational, because when all of us were growing up, what did we do in the summertime? Sam and I listened to Jack Buck on KMOX calling Cardinal games. You listen to Harry and Brickhouse or whoever calling Cub games. So we can appreciate horse racing because we were exposed to it, because as Sam said earlier, it was a filler between seasons, and And again, the current generation has about that quick of an attention span.
Right.
So unless it has to do with thumbs and fingers and shooting stuff on the TV screen. So
Yeah, right.
Let's see, thumbs and fingers and
Shoot stuff on the
TV screen. It's- the vast mind of talking sports takes that to
I tried not to.
He's a game.
Video games.
There you go.
yeah, that's what they call them too. Pop in the video.
You see where what's the dude used to Harry Carey had a little diary or whatever it is. Said
journal?
A little journal. Said he went for a drink 265 something days like that in a row.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Right.
That's all. Dang.
He said he was always at a bar.
Yeah, I think the best. What I used to love about listening, you talked earlier about radio, and I think this is the part that I think people who listen to baseball on radio can appreciate. First 3 innings, Harry's on.
He's okay.
He's coherent, understand the game.
About the 7 inning.
4 through 6.
4 through
it's
6,
getting a
he's
little weird.
because he's not on the air. Remember they would
Oh, yeah,
back
yeah,
in those
that's right,
days,
that's right, that's
they
right.
split,
And
bring somebody else
go
on.
do TV.
Right.
Yeah.
Harry comes back on 7th inning.
So
Hey! Well, look at that young man. Find sombrero on that.
Holy cow.
Yeah, and everything was, if you spell such and such backwards, I'm like, what is he talking about? What about the game, Harry?
he'd been down to Rush Street.
Right. And I think what's funny about it, or not funny, going to the point about generational. If you had an announcer today who had the same personality and did the same thing that Harry did,
He wouldn't have a
He'd
job.
be fired.
thank you. What would we do? He's got to go to what? Rehab.
Oh, right.
No, you can't be on the air like that. This was his state. That was Harry's staple.
Everybody knew Harry was drunk.
Right.
From the fans to the camera operator.
Just like when he was in St. Louis.
Yeah.
He worked for a beer company.
He got ran out of town because of what?
Well, a couple of reasons.
Well, he was screwing around with,
Youngins.
and he was messing with somebody's wife.
Yeah.
I think the story is Augie Bush. But how do you go from St. Louis to Chicago and you're not a player?
Well, that never happens. It's typically Chicago to St. Louis.
Oh, dude. Once again,
He did White Sox games too for a while.
he did White Sox before he became a Cub announcer.
I think he did any game where he could get cold beer.
And you think about the perfect setup was Wrigley Field. It was, as we all three, I mean, I'm a Cub fan, but we know the reality. Wrigley Field is nothing more than a big open kegger.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is.
Yep.
And who else than your lovable uncle, who's going to come to the kegger. He's too old to be there to begin with, but because he's so harmless, and after a few, he's going to say something to have everybody at the kegger laughing.
Your old rich uncle.
There you go. Come in, Uncle Harry. Hey!
Hey, cousin Skip, how you doing?
Right. And then, he goes to work, has a few brews, and, next thing you know, you're singing Take Me Out to the Ball Game with slurred speech. So, and I think that's why, going to your point about him going 265 days without drinking.
Yeah, but he said he was always entertaining. I guess that's what he said.
Yeah,
You
drunks
know-
can be funny.
Yeah, and he's with fans, other celebrities, meetings, this, that, and the other. So
He walks into a bar, what's the first thing people are going to say to Harry?
let me buy you a drink.
There you go. And what is Harry going to say?
Okay.
All right.
It's not the 7th yet. 3 more innings.
So like I said, when we talk generational, that's to me the perfect analogy of what's generational. Because today's world, if Joe Buck, Jack Buck's son, could not, because Jack Buck, I mean, Cardinal fans, he would have a few every now and then when you listen to him on the radio.
Yeah.
If Joe Buck was on with Troy Aikman doing
The Super Bowl.
Super Bowl is, we got to get him off the air right now. Even though our biggest sponsors are beer, beer companies, and So I just think it's just ironic that this is a conversation that we have in reference to that.
All right, let's move on. Nick Saban. It's ridiculous.
Calipari's a ridiculous one.
Well, him too. We're going to get to both of them here before we go to break. Let me see. What Auburn? No, Alabama gave him $6.5 million in base salary per year through January 21st, 2022. The new contract had 2 years and roughly $1 million annually in salary from the previous raise he received in April 2013. Saban also will be awarded $400,000 completion bonus per year, bringing the total contract to $55.2 million.
So you said this is ridiculous.
Well,
Thoughts? I just want to hear when you say a man's getting ready to,
I mean, he is Alabama. They're winning.
He's made out the University of Alabama a lot of money.
Yeah.
This always when you bring these out, just further cements the reason why student athletes should be paid.
Oh yeah, that too, absolutely.
I mean, this here is the classic example of why they should be paid. Mike just said it, and I don't begrudge it. Nick Saban has made the University of Alabama a whole heap of money. And because he's made them a whole heap of money, what are they doing? They're rewarding him.
Right?
In his contract, I think it specifically states he's got to be either the top paid head coach or top 2 or something like that. So if somebody else gets a raise, he automatically is going to get one. His base is always going to go up.
And that's a smart agent, boy.
Right. And do I have a problem with that? Nope.
Yeah, well, when you take your team to the championship, what, 3 times the past 4 years, something like that?
And just even if they don't get there, they're always in the conversation. And as Mike said, that generates revenue. And the money that comes into the university because of the football program. But this here alone cements the reason why guys got to get paid at the collegiate level. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. Because you can't, because what this does is destroy the argument we don't have the money to pay him.
Right. Right.
Because you just gave this man, think about, because
$6 million.
Think about in the state of Alabama, he's a state employee. Who in the state of Alabama as a state employee makes more money than
Nobody.
football? Exactly.
No one.
How ridiculous does that sound when the people who generate your money get zero?
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine being a state worker in the state of Alabama and the governor gets paid $1 million and you don't get paid, but you still have to work?
Well, just imagine being the governor of Alabama. Looking at your paycheck and then going, what?
Well,
Yeah, I know. But still.
First of all, who would want to be the governor of Alabama?
Well, you do one term, you get that pension the rest of your life.
Right. And I can say the second thing is, it ain't about the base pay being the governor. It's everything else.
All right, here you go. Kentucky gave John Calipari a new 7-year deal worth $52.5 million, guaranteed.
Mm-hmm. Same.
But to your argument about paying people,
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky's in a great situation. They should just go ahead and pay him because they're only staying a year anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Well, his salary is pretty much
The same as Saban.
Yeah, same as Saban. He received a package of $6.5 million next season, $7 million the following season, $7.25 million the next season, and then $7.75 million in 2017, 2018, and $8 million each for the final 3 seasons.
And think about this, going to your point about they only stay 1 year. Think about the fact that the guys leave, they go to the NBA, they become multimillionaires, and then what do?
Right, check to Kentucky.
There you go, send some money back.
Well, then Calipari's made Kentucky a lot of money. Not that Adolph Rupp and Joby Hall didn't, but in
Yes,
terms
right.
of Nowadays,
they're on a different level now.
a way different level.
You know, as I said before about the NCAA, they talk about, you know, student athlete status, don't have a Final Four in football stadiums. But imagine what that does for your brand as Kentucky when 80,000 people get to see your brand on the basketball court, hanging up in the banners, etc. That's just gotta infuse more income into the university and into the basketball program.
Did you see where a North Carolina player, I can't think of his name.
Rashad McCants.
Yes.
Said he never went to class.
Never went to class, got
Made the dean's
A's,
list.
tutors and stuff, writing his papers. He could trade a failure grade for a passing grade just so he could stay eligible. And he said he never went to class.
And Roy Williams was like, no, that's not true.
Never. He said that's what going to college. I never went to class. That's how he felt. I just go play ball.
Well, it's like that conversation we had last week off the air after we were done. So,
My point, going first of all, Rashad McCants, he was on the team that
Won the national championship.
national championship in 05, beat Illinois. Okay. I don't like guys like that. Here's why.
that guys like what?
Who?
Beat
10 years.
Illinois or
No, 10 years later.
Say something about it.
You're a rat now.
Right.
You gained all the benefits of not doing what you were supposed to do. Whether it be, like you said, he got on the dean's list, didn't go to class, had somebody else write in turn. As a young man, you're getting all those benefits. And you knew, I'm not going to let somebody do, oh, well, he was young, he didn't know. He knew exactly. You then take that, you parlay that in, you go to the NBA.
Go to the NBA, yep.
Why today is it important for you to say these things? Either A, you got a vendetta against Roy Williams. B, you got a vendetta against North Carolina. Or C, you now recognize the fact that you have no formal education.
Right.
And so now, if, what do they say when the ship's going down, what's the first thing to jump off?
Rats.
That's what I mean by I don't like guys like that. If, in fact, you want to be a whistleblower.
Couldn't he just be clearing his conscience?
But why now?
Joe like, what?
Clearing it. What?
Why didn't he do that after he got drafted?
Right. Why didn't he do that when it was offered to him? Why didn't he leave Carolina and go somewhere else if it was so bad?
And if it bothers him so much, why didn't he just flip and go to class?
Right. Right.
Because it's not bothering him until now.
And like I said, there's three things that cause you to want to clear your conscience.
Well, and the other thing could be, I'm not sure what his NBA career has been like, but
It's probably done.
Yeah, he only played, about 5 years?
Yeah, I
something
mean,
like
you
that?
figure...
well, it's been since 05.
Right,
Six.
so it's only been 9-10 years, so average career is 3.5 years, so he's probably out of the league. So that's what I'm saying. Now, either you're broke, you don't have a formal education to go out and continue your lifestyle, and so now, or, maybe you call Roy Williams and say, Coach, I need a little help getting this job, and Roy Williams like, hey, you got time, man, that's 10 years ago.
Right,
I gotta take care of my current crop of guys.
And Rashard's like, oh, you mean I have to be able to read on this job?
Right, and he's like, yeah.
So let me ask you. I don't think they're going to do it, but if an investigation ensues because of what he said, do they take back the championship? No fight.
I mean, I shouldn't say they took back, but they essentially did. They took back Bush's Heisman.
They took back Bush's Heisman. They have Final Four banners in Michigan with the Fab Five. They took those down.
Calipari at
Memphis. Right. So you've seen stuff be eradicated from the record books before, and if it comes out that all of these allegations are true, they could forfeit the national championship. Now the Illini fans know you're not going to get. You don't get the ex facto. We're the 2005 champions because they're not going to do that.
No.
And if they could do that, as a fan, would you want that?
No, because it don't matter now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. You still played the game. And you lost the game and that's why I said at the beginning of the conversation, that's why I like when we can have all these subjective conversations about what should be done, but when you play the game on the field or on the court, that's where all matters should be settled. That matter has been settled. That ship has sailed. In terms of what's happening in Carolina, to the broader point, let's go to this. In 2012, the football program was penalized for the same type of allegations of academic fraud. So does that lend credence to what he's saying? Possibly.
It does, but the football program's not a blue blood.
Right.
Like the basketball program is.
Right.
The other thing, I've said this before, obviously not having, and you even said this to me, what kind of proof do you have? When I said everybody's cheating, does it mean that, when you hear one guy come out and say this, does it paint every basketball player with a broad brush that none of them they're all dumb, old saying dumb job, blah, blah. I think that's where we step back and say, nah, this is Rashard McCants talking, but does it apply to Sean May, who was MVP that year? Does it apply to Marvin Williams, who, even though he was the sixth man on that team, was like the number one draft pick
lottery pick
that year? How many guys does this information really apply to other than Rashard McCants? So I agree, there needs to be investigation. Information needs to be divulged.
Roy Williams could lose his job.
That would break my heart.
Roy Williams to lose his job for an allegation of something that occurred 10 years ago, I'd say no.
Well,
You
I think
don't think so?
it would depend on how much the president of the University of North Carolina wants to send a message that
Exactly.
we acknowledge this, we screwed it up, it will never happen again.
Because McCants says Roy Williams told him to do some of these things.
And if that turns out to be true,
Now, if that happens, I might have to lean with you guys on that one. I'm just looking at the time frame, 10 years, and now this allegation comes out, do you whack Roy Williams, for this that happened in 2005?
Well,
but what's to say he's still not doing it?
Exactly. And
Now, if he's still doing it, and I think that's to a broader point, if you can show a pattern,
Right.
because the kid, PJ Harrison, that was one of the things that he got suspended. He wasn't doing his classwork, etc., and
Right.
ended up getting drafted, or he'll be drafted later on this year, but he wasn't on the team, and he had some drug allegations and stuff like that. So, I'm just wondering.
Well, but if it comes out that Williams did take an active role in it, do you give him a pass for what happened 11 years ago?
I don't give him a pass. I hit him some type of sanction. Maybe he gets fined. Maybe he's suspended. Something like that. But to hit him for an allegation, if he is, as you said, have an active role in it 10 years ago, ooh.
yeah, let him go.
Think so?
I don't think you necessarily can. It may end up just being a fine or suspended or something like that. But this is a big stain on the University of North Carolina, whether it's their football program, their basketball program, or their athletic department.
Right.
I actually think it's more a big stain on college basketball because it's one of the storied programs. And if you go back to when John Wooden was coaching at UCLA, there were similar stories
Right.
of during that heyday in the 60s and 70s. The same stuff was happening at UCLA.
Well, yeah, you can just listen to Bill Wallen talk and
Right.
figure that out.
I mean, they had a booster, and I guess I cannot remember the guy's name. I read a book on it, but this guy, basically, when you were a UCLA basketball player, everything was taken care of.
Right.
Everything. So there was no issues during that John Wooden era with UCLA basketball. The same thing you think about Duke. Obviously, there's no way, as you had asked me about this before, confirming that Coach K and Duke has been involved in it. But my thing is, you can't be at that, as we just talked about today's current generation.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these kids get paid early. When I say early, I'm talking about 4th, 5th grade. And not just a physical check or cash, but the top clothes, shoes, trips. You're on my top AAU team, so you're going to travel wherever. So you want for nothing. You know, you got to travel here. We got it. You got to stay in this hotel. We got it. Shoe companies make those particular deals, but you also got street agents out there bringing the kids in. And now the kid gets to high school, and it's like, where am I going to go to college? Well, let's see. Adidas has been funding you for the past 4 years. What's an Adidas school? Indiana. You're going to go to Indiana. And if I'm at Indiana, am I not going to be taken care of at Indiana? If I'm at Kansas, if I'm at North Carolina, if I'm at Duke. So,
whoever, yeah.
You know, so that's what I'm saying. These tentacles reach further than Carolina. I think this reaches out to all the athletic departments of Division I teams to be able to prove, for lack of a better term, we're clean. You know, and the crazy part is, even things that, you know, we hear these arguments about these guys can't get food and, you know, stipends and stuff like that. And maybe in some programs that's what's happening. But do you think anybody at Carolina ever went hungry?
Well, then nobody did at UConn either. So
That's what they said.
Right. One other thing in terms of, since we're talking college sports, the kid Ty Isaacs,
yeah.
he was running back. He played for Joliet Catholic a couple years ago. They came down here to state. He ran for a state record like
55 yards or something like that.
and like 5 touchdowns in a championship game, and they lost.
Did they lose to Riley O'Toole? His crew?
Was it, or was it West Lund? I think
It's
it
one
was,
of the two.
you're right. But here's the crazy part. Now this kid goes on to USC. So he did his freshman year, this past year at USC. He said, I want to come back closer to home. I want to play closer to home.
Because my mom has bad health.
Right. So I'm going to say this one more time. I want to play closer to home. He visited the University of Illinois last week. He made his announcement yesterday of where he's going to college. Where is he transferring to?
University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, Michigan. 7 hours away from here.
Right.
Well, and the really bad part, he was a teammate with Josh Ferguson.
Right. I'm scratching my head right now.
He's a little bit closer though.
How? Well, yeah, from L.A.
Yeah, he's a little bit closer though.
But if you really want to be close to home, transfer to Northwestern.
No, actually, Evanston's farther north than Champaign is south. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you say, oh man, you know, Sam, you know, I want to get closer home, I'm going to U of I. I mean, it shouldn't even be a conversation. And when they made an announcement yesterday, and I bring this story in because of this stuff we're talking about with McCants and all that, I'm trying to put some logic. That is closer, technically, but 7.5 Ann Arbor. That's Detroit.
Yeah, it is.
That's Detroit.
That's Detroit, yep.
Ann Arbor's like 40, 45 minutes from Detroit.
Yeah,
That's Detroit. And you said you want to play closer to home.
Maybe that was just an excuse.
Well, yeah, for him, from Ty Isaac's point of view, now that he's gone to Michigan, he'll probably have to sit out the year. Whereas if he had transferred here with that 100-mile radius rule thing,
Because his mom,
would have allowed him to play immediately in all likelihood. So
That's why this is why, like I said, the more we talk about college athletics,
it's a business. It has been for a long time.
less stuff makes sense. You know, because I usually am the guy that jumps on the bandwagon for an athlete. Oh, he wants to get closer to his mom or grandma and give him eligibility. Because that was the argument last year for Starks. Coming from Oregon to here to play basketball because his grandmother's up in Chicago.
Well, you can believe that Michigan gave him a little bit more incentive to come up there.
Yeah, they don't have any running backs.
That and a little more incentive.
It's just an hour from Windsor, Ontario, Canada.
Right.
Joe, you know what I'm talking about.
Well, Marcus Jackson.
Yeah.
Marcus Jackson definitely can talk about it.
EA Sports are no longer allowed to use players' images and numbers.
With the Ed O'Bannon. Yeah, that's the injunction right now. Now, you know, Ed O'Bannon, he played for the UCLA basketball team in '95 when they won the national championship. It goes to what we've been talking about everybody else making money, but the guys who do the work. You think about what EA Sports does with college basketball, college football, is they'll take the previous year's teams, load them into software, and now you're at home and you're Ty Isaacs or, you know, AJ McCarron or whoever you want to be, and EA Sports is making a gazillion dollars off of the sport,
Right.
and athletes are making what?
Yeah.
Now their argument will be, well, they're not using the player because they have the player's number, but they don't use the player's name.
Right.
But we know who. I mean, once again, you're playing the public for idiots to think that we don't know who the players on Auburn are, and Alabama and Florida State and, you know, USC and whoever. We know who they're supposed to be, and everybody's making money except for, once again, those guys. Do you think, now that they've put the injunction in terms of not being able to use their numbers, do you think they'll be able to go back from the inception of when college football and basketball video games were put together, if there is a settlement, and say, here's how much is in the lawsuit, and we're going to kick this money out to all the individuals who were involved?
I think it depends on the judge's ruling. And I'm not sure how the lawsuit was filed. If it was filed Ed O'Bannon et al.
In terms of a class action?
Yeah, whether it was class action or whether it included every collegiate athlete in football or basketball, if it was just team specific or what.
Right.
But the easy way around that is, okay, Ed O'Bannon was whatever, number 13. We'll use Ed O'Bannon and his stats and his moves, etc. We'll give him number 12 on the game.
Wow.
But then he ain't Ed O'Bannon then. He number 12.
But
what Mike's argument is,
basis of the player you play on NCAA, whatever, 2010 basketball is based on Ed O'Bannon's stats from the year before, and his ability to do whatever it is you can make the guy do.
Right.
So I'll just change your number to 12 instead of 13. That ain't him. He didn't wear number 12. He wore number 13.
I love America.
There's a loophole in everything, ain't it?
I love America.
Well, I think that may be, a hard thing to prove because they're, okay, yeah, big deal. You change his number. It's still, it's still his likeness, his character, his stats that you're basing it off of. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Clippers ex-owner, what is his name, Donald Sterling, has agreed to drop the lawsuit. He's agreed to go ahead and sell the team. He might not have to pay that $2 million fine.
2.5. I think the NBA needs to make him do that somehow, way or another. Take it out of the proceeds. Tell Ballmer, okay, you can pay $2 billion for it, but $2.5 million of it's coming to us.
I think because they didn't vote, which to me is more disappointing than anything.
Right.
I think all the other penalties fall to the wayside, because that would have been a part of the package of what the Board of Governors to get rid of him. And I still think the vote was more important. I know
than the other stuff.
Right, because what you need to do, okay, right now what you're basically doing is
settling.
Not even settling. It's as though Donald Sterling said, I'm going to sell the Clippers. That's it. Not I'm selling the Clippers because I'm being forced to sell the Clippers and all these other penalties. And he sold it for $2 billion.
With a B.
Right. And think of the leverage. I'm going to drop my $1 billion lawsuit against you. When it was supposed to be the other 29 owners getting rid of him.
Right.
So that's where I think the tragic ending of this whole deal is. Donald Sterling still comes out of this thing unscathed in the fact that he just got the highest purchase power for a major league franchise in professional sports history in this country.
Another woman has surfaced that said she was what's the word I'm looking for?
Sexually harassed?
Yeah, and had relations with Donald back in the day for cash.
Yeah.
That would make her a
Well, whatever.
oh
But
Garden tool.
garden tool.
Are you talking about a rake?
Yes.
another sister too.
Yeah. And said it was for years.
Yeah, something like 10 years.
Is Sterling related to Thomas Jefferson?
I think it's related to Tiger Woods.
Well, that could be too.
And she said that he used racial remarks to her.
Mhm.
Wanted to know why she was married to a black man. Oh, Donald, dude.
Well, there's a lot of answers there, but none of them appropriate for TV.
Yeah.
Right. TV, radio, and
And
but present company. We
they would have relations, and
you ain't paid me yet.
and that's when she stopped because he quit paying her.
Yeah, well, that's usually how work ends.
The
You know.
oldest profession. That's typically the
you
way it
know,
goes, from what I understand.
Now she ready to tell.
Well, yeah, because V got paid, so I might as well get paid too.
I hear you.
And I mentioned Tiger Woods. Think about when his situation broke, and the number of women that came out of the woodwork on him, from the Waffle House, to International House of Pancakes, to IHOP.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I hope was right, I think.
but it is amazing, especially in this Donald Sterling thing, that you would admit association with it.
Right.
That's to me going back to the vote. You would come out publicly and say, "Yeah, I had a 6-year relationship with Donald Sterling." You what?
He paid me too.
Right.
They have relations.
You're admitting to this?
Yeah, she's admitted to.
And it goes back to you asked the question about Rashard McCass. Is she clearing her conscience?
Yes.
No, she's not.
She's
Her
opening up her bank
Her
account.
bank account's overdrawn.
There you go.
Oh,
She's not
shit.
clearing her conscience.
Well, where's she gonna get money from? From the newspapers and whoever else wants to talk to
The
her
Sterling
about
Family Foundation.
Whether it
they
be
just got $2 billion. They got a little bit from
there, but what you just said is totally accurate.
Yeah.
Who's going to pay for your story?
TMZ, whoever,
Yeah.
ETV, whatever it may
You
be.
know, National Enquirer, Worldwide, whatever.
Anderson Cooper, Barbara Walters, whoever.
You know, and they'll go on there, and Gloria Allred, the world famous,
That's who she got as her attorney.
of course.
Of course she does.
And she didn't get the Gloria Allred when you got her. Said, "Don't worry, I'll take care of you." You know.
I got you.
Right, and she's gonna be right there, and she's gonna.
And we know at a bare minimum how much he's worth.
Right, right. So there's gonna be some checks cut. This, they'll have the press conference, and she'll sit out there, and Gloria Allred will say all the nasty things about Donald Sterling and how he treated this woman.
About men.
And men are just, and you can't do this in this world, and you're gonna pay, and blah blah blah. And then as soon as the microphone goes off, so you got the check.
Yeah, let me get my 30%.
Right, and we'll settle out of court,
Right.
and they'll move on till another case like this pops up. But
I love America.
once again, land of opportunity.
Yeah, there it is.
Everybody making money.
Okay, what's going on locally, Joe? What time is it, by the
10
way?
till.
10 till.
9 till.
Oh, man, we've been sitting here running our mouths for a while.
Let's see, locally, starting on the high school level, baseball, Champaign Central lost on Wednesday to Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin.
Oh,
Now, Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin, #1 ranked team in the state. Central lost 2-0. Central ended the season 35-3.
That works.
yeah.
Outstanding performance by the Maroons on the baseball field. Seniors did a great job leading. The foundation is bright. They got a lot of underclassmen that were on that baseball team. So they'll be back next year, probably even stronger than this year. But, usually we don't talk high school baseball. Centennial had a great year, too. I think they were a 20-win team. Also lost by 1 run last Saturday to the Maroons in the regional finals. So it just goes to show you that the competitive spirit of both high schools are still going there. Little League, Creative Marble, lost 2 or 3 this week. Played 3 games on the road. Won the first one on Monday, 7-3, and then lost a slugfest, 13-10 on Tuesday, and then lost a close game yesterday, 4-2. So they've got 1 week left before the Little League playoffs start in town. So the season will end a week from tomorrow,
Okay.
and then we'll know the seedings in terms of that. The T-ball league, the 4 to 6-year-olds. Now, if you want to see baseball at its finest, you come on out to Douglas Park 9 o'clock on Saturday mornings and see some 4 to 6-year-olds go at it. Last Saturday, funniest play I've seen in a while. Kids on third, they're telling him right away, when the ball's hit, you're coming home. He gives him the look, shakes his head. Gotcha, coach. As soon as the ball was hit, guess where he went?
Home.
First. Straight across the diamond. Just hauling ass straight right across the pitcher's mound. No hesitation either. And then when he gets there, he gives that look like, what's the problem?
I did what you said.
I did what you said, even though I didn't come home. But yep, we've got a couple of weeks to go in the farm and suited league, and then Peanut has 1 week left, and then what they're doing with the T-ball, as I just mentioned, they're letting these kids play once a week, and they're going to play all the way up into CU Day, so into August.
That's good.
And I think what's nice about that, we've talked before about keeping kids engaged and to get 4, 5, and 6-year-olds to get out there.
Is that T-ball or the suited league that's not doing it?
In terms of
The other teams are not doing that as well.
right, yeah, it's just T-ball that's gonna, they'll play once a week and play all the way up until August, because they just started. Like I said, Saturday was their first time getting on the field.
Oh, okay.
Because obviously the older kids get priority earlier in the year, but now the spotlight will truly shine on the younger kids. So
Excellent. All right, how much time we have left?
6 minutes.
6 minutes. Anything else?
boxing. Sergio Martinez and Miguel Cotto fight tomorrow for the middleweight championship of the world. Martinez is an older fighter, 37, 38. He took up boxing late. He was a professional soccer player down in Argentina, and took up boxing and became professional at the age of 27, 28. So he's been, one of these late bloomer kind of guys, and puts on a good show. But he tore his ACL, let's say 2 years ago, and he's been knocked on his butt a couple times his last couple of fights. Some people say it's the knee, some people just say it's his age, but he's a flashy fighter. Normally you don't see that from an Argentinian. Usually you just see the tough rumble in the jungle type fighter, but Miguel Cotto, he's trying to kind of resurrect his career. He was of the ilk of the Pacquiao beatdown a few years ago, and he was a part of that Antonio Margarito duel where Margarito had used plaster in his hand wraps, swole him up pretty bad
Cheater.
a few years ago, but he got revenge on him and basically did the same thing to him without the plaster. So they go at it tomorrow night. Should be a pretty action-packed fight in terms of, if you like just action and that size. Mike had mentioned earlier, we still don't have anything going at the heavyweight division. And, if Klitschko isn't, fighting the Russians in Ukraine, you ain't got nothing going on there.
Right. I just got one question for you. I thought Floyd was a prize fighter.
That's a good one. Obviously, Mike's referring to the Floyd Mayweather
T.I.
Fat Burger charity
throwing contest.
chair throwing charity event. You know what amazes me about that? You walk around with two bodyguards,
Right?
that are both of them are like 6 feet,
Size of a house.
18. Both of them weigh about 400 or 500 pounds, and you're fighting a guy who weighs probably $140
Soaking wet.
wet at Fat Burger over this guy's wife.
Who, T.I.?
Yeah,
Yeah.
What's
Floyd
her name?
supposedly called her
Tiny.
Tiny, yeah.
something you shouldn't have.
Right. And I just, I know there's, we talked about this before about there's two things that can mess with a man's head, and that's his money and his woman. But I'm saying to myself now, first I look at it from T.I.'s perspective. You just got out of federal prison.
Yeah.
for some weapons charges.
Floyd, or did you look? You don't have my guns with me.
Then you got Floyd Mayweather, who what was it, 3 years ago? Spent some time in Vegas County.
For child
Domestic,
support or something.
domestic violence.
Family related.
Right. And so now I'm going to fight in a public place.
Flipping
Fat burger.
of all places.
Right. Why is, not to begrudge a guy, he can go anywhere he wants, but why are you at Fat Burger at 2 a.m, Floyd Mayweather and T.I.?
Coming from the strip.
Right.
Get the fat burger.
Yeah, okay.
Here's how it works, Sam. If I made $70 million just about 3 weeks ago,
I could have sent somebody to get me a fat burger.
Sam, take the keys to the Bentley. You and Mike go out. When you come back, could you bring me a fat burger? Joe, what are you getting ready to do? We're going to the disco in the basement of the mansion.
I'm going to go throw a chair at T.I. just for the heck of it.
Well, obviously the guy got issues.
Who?
They both do.
That's what I was like. Who? Which one?
I don't know, but I ain't got nothing against T.I.'s woman, but Tiny ain't the.
But that's his wife.
I know it.
Anyway.
That's Paul George.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is, the lines of athlete and celebrity obviously have been blurred a long time ago. Mm-hmm. But now it is as though these type of events happen more and more because of social media and the fact that how do I make money?
Well, and everybody's got a camera on their head.
That's it. Everybody's walking around doing this.
I got you.
Yeah.
And they selling it.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't blame them at all.
Right. But now let's, final thing though. Here it is, you're Floyd Mayweather and you're trying to make history, for lack of, you're trying, 50-0, that's the number. Everybody knows why. Marciano was 49-0, he's going for 50-0. At this point, when he's, 46, 47-0?
Something like that, yeah.
Why are you even risking?
Why are you even out it?
That's what I mean. If I'm a 25-year-old Floyd Mayweather Jr., I'll be honest, as a fan, I can understand the bravado and all that, but when you're a 37, 38-year-old Floyd Mayweather, why are you out?
And why are you picking on a guy that just got out of jail for a gun charge?
Right.
Why not?
Because he might have a flipping gun.
Oh, come on, man.
A machine gun at that.
T.I. ain't even supposed to be within
Yeah, okay.
yards of
Make
gun.
sure you wink when you say that.
Right. And quack, too.
No, I ain't quacking. I'm not going to do that one. All right, gang. That's going to do it for this edition of Talking Sports. We do this each and every Friday from 2 to 4. You tune in next week. We'll lace them up and do it again. Mike.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Joseph.
Pickle juice. Pickle juice. Pickle juice. That's all LeBron needs. Big old jar of Vlasic pickle juice.
But why Tiny? I mean, what's that Escape?
Yeah.
When she in the group Escape?
Hey,
Come on.
beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
He blind as a bat. I'll say again.
Hey, I've been with you for 10 years.
Why Tiny?
There you go.
Even though I will not fight Mike for you.
I'm glad you brought that.
I've been with you for 10 years, but me and Mike will never be a fat burger throwing chairs at each other.
On June 20th, from 6 to 8 p.m., Talking Sports will be at American Legion Post 559 to celebrate our 10-year anniversary of being on there.
Is that really a celebration?
Yeah. Well, whatever. 6 to 8 o'clock p.m.
It's a Friday.
That's a Friday. That's June 20th. Joseph, you gonna be there because the cameras are gonna be there, and
I ain't gonna be there.
you ain't gonna be there,
Be with
Joseph.
you old dudes at 6. It's enough for be with you old dudes from 2 to 4. Waste my Friday evening.
But come on over
Females
there.
out.
Yeah, come
kicking
on.
it.
There's gonna be giveaways, and there's gonna be some vittles to eat, and some adult beverages.
See, you've already shown your age.
What?
You use the word vittles.
Vittles.
Okay, food to eat.
There's going to be some munchies.
Right.
That too.
You said vittles.
Yeah, and
Is
give
Ellie Mae and Granny and Uncle Jed gonna be there
they
too?
probably will.
By the cement pond.
Yep. You get an opportunity to come up and join us, ask some questions.
Buy us
If
a
you
drink like Harry Curry.
Yeah. If you have something you want to contribute to the show, you'll be able to do that as well.
And you can also tell Sarge how wrong he's been over the past 10 years on all his ridiculous predictions.
So says the man that hasn't gotten one right all
I know
year.
it. You betting on the Heat too.
I'll walk out on a limb.
Anyway, that's it. We'll see you next Friday. We gotta go.
We gotta go.
Yep, I gotta go.
Say goodbye.
Bye.